At the end of a quiet road stood an old restaurant called the Golden Plate. Years ago, it had been one of the most popular restaurants in town. Families gathered there for celebrations, tourists stopped for meals, and locals often spent their evenings enjoying the restaurant's famous food. Then, one night, everything changed. A terrible fire broke out inside the building. According to official reports, 23 people lost their lives. After the tragedy, the restaurant was permanently closed. For more than 20 years, nobody entered the building. Yet strange stories continued to spread. Many people claimed that every year, on the anniversary of the fire, the restaurant lights turned on by themselves at exactly 11 p.m. Some even reported seeing people sitting inside through the windows. Most believed the stories were just local legends. Ryan Carter, a young journalist who loved investigating mysteries, wanted to know the truth. On a cold autumn evening, he drove to the abandoned restaurant with a camera and flashlight. The building looked old and forgotten. Dust covered the windows, and weeds surrounded the entrance. At 10:58 p.m., Ryan stood outside waiting. Nothing happened. Then, exactly at 11 p.m., the lights suddenly came on. Ryan stared in shock. The restaurant no longer looked abandoned. Inside, tables were covered with clean white cloths. Plates of food sat on every table, and dozens of customers appeared to be dining inside. Gathering his courage, Ryan pushed open the door and stepped inside. The air was freezing cold. Everything was silent. The customers sat perfectly still. No one spoke. No one moved. As Ryan walked between the tables, he noticed something terrifying. The people weren't eating. They weren't even blinking. Their faces looked frozen in fear. Near the kitchen, Ryan discovered an old newspaper lying on the floor. The headline read, "Deadly Restaurant Fire Claims 23 Lives." The date matched the anniversary of the fire. Suddenly, the lights began flickering. Ryan slowly looked up. Every customer in the restaurant had turned their head toward him. Their eyes were fixed on him. A whisper echoed through the room. "Leave." Ryan dropped the newspaper and ran toward the entrance. The whispers grew louder behind him. "Leave. Leave. Leave." He reached the door and pushed it open. The moment he stepped outside, the lights went out. The restaurant was dark once again. When Ryan looked through the window, the tables were empty. There were no customers, no food, nothing. The next morning, he returned with the police, but they found no sign of anyone ever being inside. Only the old newspaper remained. To this day, nobody knows what Ryan saw that night. But every year, at exactly 11 p.m., the lights of the abandoned restaurant still turn on, and some travelers claim they can see shadowy figures sitting quietly inside, waiting for the next visitor.